animation industry or the anime industry? Just so like we can be clear. So who's interested in animation? And animation? Okay, who's interested in anime? Okay, so both is good?
Yes.
Nice, like, Japanese action. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
So this panel is more focused on the American animation industry, specifically TV. Just by a show of hands, are you guys?
Just did a show of hands. Oh, I'm sorry. You're tired. Well, all right.
So we're gonna do so much fighting. We're gonna do so much fighting up here. It's gonna be awesome. As you can tell, we're all friends up here. Maybe I should introduce myself. I'll be the moderator, and my name is Will, and I currently work on the new Thundercats.
Oh my God!
Thundercats. So the question is do you guys know what kind of positions or like jobs there are in the animation industry?
Yeah.
Just shout it out if you have any idea.
Keep going.
There you go. Tell me more. Oh, there you go.
What's an animatic?
Alright. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, at least one person here knows a lot about the positions here. But, okay, so that's a good idea of how we can gauge what we can explain and what we know. So the first, what we're going to do is, they've already introduced themselves. The next thing is they're going to talk about how they got into animation.
So to answer the quick question you said before, I mean, animations, like many other projects in film, it's divided into like the business side up front. It's a lot of like sales and marketing and money people. Then you go right into script and writing, and from script and writing, it goes right into the art side and the voice side. Then it goes into full animation, then post-production, then sales and distribution. So there's a lot of areas that many types of skilled people can be in. So what you'll see from our panel is that a lot of us have a lot of different roles. It's a very big industry. There's a lot of ways to get in. But if you love animation, there's always kind of like a basic place there. Yeah.
How did you get in?
Oh, I actually was a script reader.
Okay.
So I started back in the 90s, and I was, you guys know what a temp pool is? I was working for Viacom. It's like the big building in New York. It was like Nickelodeon and Blockbuster Video at the time, and MTV and VH1. So I was in this like little group of temps. And every day, the temp manager would say, hey, there's like a person sick in this department, like go up and like sit at their desk and answer the phone. And then over here, like this person's kind of like sick in the mailroom, so just like move these boxes around for a day. So I just was out of college and I was like, this is awesome, I get to be in the Viacom building every day as a temp. And I worked 3 days for the guy who was the first producer of Beavis and Butthead. So I was sitting at his desk, it was pretty cool, and he had this pitch on his folder, and it was for a show called Eon Flux. And I loved it in college, I thought it was the coolest thing. And he said, hey kid, why don't you, read that and tell me if you think it's good. So I kind of like, one of those like little how to succeed in business kind of things like went off in my head. And I realized, oh, this is a great chance for me. So what I did is I read the script and I just used everything I knew about storytelling just from being a fan, just from, studying English literature and really being into mythology and stuff. And I was like, okay, I'm going to tell this guy what I feel about the story. So I wrote him these little notes on every page, like, this doesn't make sense. This character's really cool. This part I think is the strongest part of the script. And on the front I put a cover page that said, I think you should really approve this series. There's a strong fan base. I think it's perfect for MTV to do something diametrically opposite from Beavis and Butthead, which was like all like, just kid humor and bad drawing, doing something like super cool and actiony. And I just gave it to him and I went back to my job like moving boxes. So then 3 days later I got a phone call from their office. And they said, please come up to so-and-so's office. And I thought, oh, I'm busted. Like, I thought, like, I broke something, or, like, the photocopier was wrong, or whatever. And I went up, and there are all these writers on Beavis and Butthead holding a fax of, like, my little note on the front. And, it was like, I don't know, you guys aren't probably as old as me, but it was, like, grunge, and I had, like, plaid sweatshirt, like, around my neck. I had, like, long hair and everything. And I was like, did I do something wrong, man? And they were like, would you like to read scripts as a job? And I was like, they do that? Oh, yeah. how I started. So 6 years later, I was in charge of the department. I had greenlit, developed, and approved something like 14 TV series, and I had produced over 65 pilots. So that's how I got into it. And from there, that's whenever, it's like 2000, 2001, that Studio Gonzo decided they really wanted to make a big international play. So they actually headhunted me. They found me. I was literally speaking at a panel like this, and there was like a Japanese guy in the back saying, "Oh, I like that stupid boy. He is stupid enough to come to Japan." So they got me, and they said, "Do you want to come to Japan?" And I was like, "Yeah, man." My hair was a little shorter, and then I cut it for here when I started working in anime. So. But yeah, I ran their whole development department. I put a bunch of series in production and development. We licensed Witchblade, the first American comic ever made into anime. And then there was on this office wall, this Afro Samurai toy. And I just said, this is it. This is what we should bet all our money on. We got Samuel Jackson to play the lead voice. We got the Wu-Tang Clan and RZA, who just did Kill Bill, did the music. You know, we just went crazy. So that was like 6 years of my life. So that's how I did it. That's it.
It's a hard act to follow, but he's the reason I'm in animation. Actually, he greenlit a show called MTV Downtown, and that my friend Chris Barnowski created. And I was writing on a magazine in San Diego at the time, and my friend Chris called me up and said, "Yeah, I got an animated series. Do you want to story edit it?" And I asked him, "What does a story editor do?" And he was like, "I don't know. Do you want to do it?" And I was like, "Awesome." So we kind of figured things out. We didn't really let MTV Animation know we didn't know what we were doing. And we got an Emmy nomination out of it. And then the New York animation scene was kind of dying out, so we all moved to LA. And we got a series at Cartoon Network called Megas XLR, which we kind of took all the things we love giant robots and Yamato and Star Blazers, Robotech, all that stuff. So we're like, hey, let's make a show about that. We did a couple seasons of that, and then a producer headhunted me from this company called Lucasfilm, and they were like, hey, you want to work on one of our shows? And they were being really secretive about it. And eventually they admitted to me that it was Clone Wars. And I actually blew my first interview because they asked me, hey, what would you tell George Lucas about Return of the Jedi? And I didn't realize it was a trick question because I was like, oh man, I'd start with the Ewoks. Like, I hated the Ewoks. Okay.
Hey man, they're the Filipinos of the whole universe.
Taking the panel that way.
What?
So I blew my first interview. I lost the job. And then later the producer came back to me and she was like, well, obviously you can't story edit Clone Wars, but would you like to write on it? I was like, yeah, totally. So I did a couple of years on Clone Wars. And now I'm back with the whole team from Megas working on Motor City for Disney XD. And I also have, I pitched a crazy idea to Sci-Fi Channel, and we're developing it as a live action series. Kind of, again, my love of anime and live action science fiction, and we'll see if that actually goes forward. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, Eric wants to ask you guys a question. Can he ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
So, who of you out there is interested in becoming writers? How about artists and animators? Oh, that's actually the majority.
It's all on you, Brianne.
Producer, executive types, anyone? Oh, cool. The guy with the suit, of course. Yo, suit, man. A lot of artists in here, man.
It's okay. You'll be the one bossing everybody around.
And how about voiceover actors? Oh. Okay, so it's actually mostly artists. Okay, good. All right, thank you.